I'm not going to say certain names and all that because if you paid attention to the news throughout all different variants, depending on which is your favorite, you will definitely know what happened in New York today with the justice system and the court system. And let's just say that basically, you know, the decision right now is kind of final, right? And we won't know the sentencing part of it until at least a little over a month from now, basically July 11th. But with that said, whatever the sentencing could be, a lot of people feel that the one sentencing that people are memeing a lot about is not going to be, possible because of age and, the background, business, political, whatever of the individual. But with that said, a lot of people that are not happy about this that are talking about it have pretty much all said the same thing. That I guess you could say the Dem party, as you will, the D party, we'll put it that way, the D party, pretty much, come November, has, I guess put it plainly and simply, shot themselves in the toe. And to the point that they shot themselves in the toe that basically it's going to cause them, sorry about that, but like I said, a lot of people saying come, the fall, come the month of Thanksgiving, basically, that's going to be when the decision, is truly made, and that the individual that was put into an unfair circumstance found, pretty much found guilty of what they were accused of, that basically what happened here and what's being planned elsewhere at times is all going to come back, and, blow up in the face of the D party, if you know what I mean. And if it does, it does, But it's like my mom would say, only God knows the truth. So, whatever truly happened with this situation in the NYC and all that, where this individual, and you know who I'm talking about, was found guilty of what they were accused of, again, whatever the real truth is, it's going to come out. And apparently this individual, and again, you probably know who I'm talking about, is going to appeal. But what I found really interesting is one of the contributors to F News, we're going to call them F News, you know who they are, FX News, was in the courtroom when the decision came down. And apparently, according to this contributor, it didn't seem like any decision was going to be truly made. But all of a sudden, almost like at the last second, the judge gets a note saying, oh, no, a decision has been made. So it makes you wonder, like, what is really the truth? Because should an appeal take place, and it will apparently, whoever takes on that appeal is going to look at all that, take that all into consideration, look at the background of the judge and some of the other people involved that put said individual into the circumstance, and they might say, look, it sounds like you have been against said individual from day one. And they might also point out that, hey, you're about to call it a day, if you will, call it a day until the following day to get a decision, and all of a sudden you get one at the last second. You see, they're going to look at all these, situations, and they're going to be like, you know what? They'll be like, you know what? We agree. Maybe there is some guiltiness for said individual, but not to the extreme that you are trying to pinpoint. And what's interesting, too, is I think there's more to this than we're being led on. It's almost like these individuals have a vendetta with said individual, because of something. Not because of what said individual is being accused of, but maybe because these individuals try to, or I don't know, apply for employment with said individual, or wanted to be the running mate in the past or something. I don't know. But there is something more. Like there's something that we're not seeing just yet. And if the appeal in the NYC don't work, statewide, then federally it will. Now, some would say, well, what happens if he's, this individual or said individual is sentenced? What happens? Well, it all depends. Again, like I said, one sentence, which is behind bars, according to a lot of people, because of said individual's age and said individual's background and everything and a lot of stuff, and mostly because of the money. And that's a notification. I do apologize if you heard a vibration there. But because of all that, coming into play, said individual may not face, may not face behind bars time, if you know what I mean. But there is other ways. There are other things. One could be a house arrest, for a certain length of time. Now, we could think maybe it would just be a month and all that. That could be one, direction. The other direction, could be, the other direction could be something else that they talked about. Maybe sentencing from being barred from going on the road and doing what they got to do to get ready for, November. That might be another sentence too. We don't know. But what it really means is at the end of the day, whether you're for this individual or you're not for this individual, I think reality is setting in. Whether you like it or whether you want to like to agree to it or not, reality is setting in that this said individual pretty much, in the eyes of many individuals across this country, pretty much got their ticket punched back into the White House. Yeah. They pretty much got their ticket punched back into said, environment, into said house of leadership, if you will, for this country. They pretty much got their ticket punched. And the only individuals that don't know that is the D Party and the L Party and those that are against the R Party and this individual. That's pretty much the only ones that don't realize that this said individual's ticket has been punched. That's what they're not seeing. That's what they're not seeing. Now, let's say said individual gets sentenced to maybe 30 days behind bars, and then they get released. What is the judge that put them through this situation going to say when they see him? Is he going to wave his finger and go like, let that be a lesson to you. Don't you ever do anything like that ever again. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Is that what he's going to do? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he does. But still, whatever happens, November pretty much is going to say, yeah, D Party, L Party, G Party, I Party, you individuals that were against this individual and the R Party, you pretty much just gave him the keys, gave this individual the keys to the kingdom. That's what you did. That's what you did. And you know what? I would not be surprised if a lot of these members of all these other different parties, realize that that's a strong possibility, but then in the end say, you know what? It was worth it. Like, yes, said individual is back, as leader of said country, but you know what? In the process before that happened, we sent said individual a message, and that message is, don't mess with us. And that might be what happens. They might be like, look, yeah, said individuals back behind the desk, in said office, even though we didn't really want it. But, we can't accept the fact that we got victory, but we can accept the fact that we still got a little bit of a victory out of it because we sent our message. And it might also be the fact, that, again, this goes back to what I've said before. That said individual has a very controversial past. Before they became leader of this country, what was it, like 8 years ago initially? You know, they have a controversial past when it comes to the opposite gender, if you know what I mean. And if I'm them, I come and admit I was wrong about that and acknowledge, look, I get maybe that's why this is all happening, but if that's what this is all truly about, then hey, let me know. Be man enough, be lady enough, if you will, to let me know. Let the people that know something's not right, something's up here, know that, hey, that's the reason. But only time will tell if something like that ever occurs. But yeah, today's situation in conclusion, basically in my opinion, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, whether you like said individual or you don't, pretty much all the parties and people that oppose that individual and the party he represents, pretty much they punched his ticket and literally gave him the keys back to said kingdom of this country. And they know it. And if they feel like, hey, if that's the case, fine, we were able to get a measure of, payback in our opinion, or we were able to finally send a message, you don't screw with us. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, this is not a good look for any justice system. So, higher level, state level, county level, city level, itsy bitsy town level. It's not a good look. It's not a good look because what it does is it shows that if you're representing one party, you're going to favor that party no matter what. So only God knows what's going to happen, and only God is going to be able to get the truth out, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what occurs. But let me know what your thoughts are on this situation today, because I'm sure a lot of you know what I was talking about. I'm trying to be careful with my words and everything here on the YT, but let me know what your thoughts are, and until then, I am out. Take care. Have a good day.